Thinking about introducing a little bit of class on the breakfast show this morning. You're probably thinking, well, what are you doing there? Tonight at our wonderful, majestic art gallery, Haydn's Sunrise, which is music by Haydn, Mozart, Purcell, will be performing this evening from 7 p.m. Joining me in the studio is Skye McIntosh, Artistic Director of the Australian Haydn Ensemble. Skye, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, you've been here for nearly a week, haven't you?
We have. We've been having an amazing time. Very, very busy, but yeah, amazing.
How did this all come together, you and your fellow musicians being here in the Silver City?
Well, we do as a group. The Australian Haydn Ensemble does a lot of regional touring in New South Wales generally, but we hadn't been as remote as Broken Hill. And we've been talking about that for a while. And one of our supporters, a wonderful lady, Paula McLean, who has a connection to Broken Hill, she introduced me to the gallery, actually, and also to Menindee Central School, Fiona Kelly, the principal there. And so we started talking about the idea to have a project with the Menindee Central School, and we've been mainly working on that this week. And that's been really incredible.
What do you do when you travel? We'll use Menindee. We'll talk about Menindee Central School. You could be talking about any school here. How many children will be exposed to the music that you perform?
Well, with the project in Menindee, it's almost the entire school was involved in the project, and we had sort of years 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8 working with us intensely over the week. And so working with each of those groups is sort of a longer term project, bringing in the idea of the identity of their local landscape and things that we wanted them to sort of feel that they had contributed to the content. We weren't just bringing our music, we were learning from their ways and their stories. And so, we had the first part of the project, we had an Indigenous author who came out to work with the kids and developed some poetry around Menindee, the lakes, what the kids wanted to talk about. So the dust storms, the ghosts or spirits, and we have some nature themes in our music too. So sunrise, sunset and this kind of thing. So, and the river. So we started to formulate this story around a day in Menindee with the kids as a project. So then when we got out there, we were working with them, going out into the local environment, making sound recordings with them and getting them to talk to us about what's like for them to live in Menindee. So we went down to the river and we were listening, you start to listen to the sounds of because music really is nature, the sounds, we're really imitating sounds with our instruments. And so we sort of collected up over time some sounds with them, and then looking at how we can make improvised soundscapes with these kids that told stories, and then we built the project around that. And so we also had some amazing help from the language teachers in the school who translated all of the poetry into Barkindji, and so that we could learn a bit about the local language. And so then, the performance was this beautiful sort of montage of us performing interwoven with the kids, reading out the poems, Barkindji language in the section. So we started with sunrise, and then we had dawn birds, and then that moved into sort of like pelicans on the lake. We had some special new music that we commissioned as part of the project that we performed, which was written for that. And then, sort of went into a big dust storm comes, and then they see a spirit by the lake, and then a thunderstorm happens, and then it all sort of dies down, and then there's a sunset, which, as we experienced yesterday, is pretty amazing here. The most incredible sunset I've ever seen yesterday. So, that was the project. And so we culminated on Thursday with a performance with the kids where they did all of that, and they were amazing. I mean, it was very ambitious to turn that around in a few days when we hadn't met them before. But everyone felt really excited about how it went and getting to meet the kids. They're beautiful kids, and the sense of community in that school is really amazing, and what the teachers there are fantastic.
You find in a lot of the smaller communities, more remote communities, the school is the centrepiece of a community. But I gather from what you've been saying, I think you learn as much as the kids this week.
Yeah, and that's a big part of the project, is it's not just us bringing our music and going, this is how you play music. We really was, the idea behind it is that it's an interchange of ideas, us learning about, their culture, their, what, because I feel, I know so little at this point, but I'm wanting to learn more about, the identity and how the sounds in nature and the idea of country is, so important and integral to their way of thinking. And I think we can learn a lot from that, especially in the idea of sound and how, what we're hearing around us and how we're connecting with all of those things.
What was their reaction from the children for the music you do perform? Because, as I said, they probably go home to mum and dad and they might have Charlie Pride playing in the background. The music you do perform is a new world, I'd imagine, for most of them. Yeah,
well, they were really engaged. And, I mean, that's the thing. It is, they don't play instruments. So, well, they do. They have done instrument. They have a music program there, but, there weren't kids there who are, doing violin or doing cello. So, yeah, you sort of, that was another thing going into the project, wanting to make sure they felt engaged, because we're not just playing at them. But no, they were very respectful and listening, and we did some fun workshops where they were conducting us and applying different sort of techniques of, how could they make us go faster or slower or louder or softer. And they seemed to really enjoy that. It was actually really fun. And yeah, just, it's just the beginning. We're talking about coming back next year and doing a more in detail project where we actually commission some new work that they would learn sort of over time, which has singing and other, where they can participate more in the performance in that way.
It's 13 past 8. We're talking to Skye McIntosh this morning, Artistic Director of the Australian Haydn Ensemble. Now, you get to perform tonight in our magnificent gallery, which, we often refer to as like a New York warehouse-style apartment.
Yeah, it is like that. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Have you had a practice in there, have you?
We haven't had a practice in there. I've been in there quite a few times because we're staying just across the road at the Red Earth Motel, so I go past all the time. But it's beautiful, but we'll be practicing in there this afternoon and really looking forward to playing in there. It's such a stunning space. And, the gallery's been fantastic, helping us and, letting people know about the concert.
It's a perfect setting. It's a perfect setting. So tonight the performance commences at 7 p.m. Runs for about an hour and a half. Just tell us about the sort of music you will be playing tonight.
Yep. So we have, the music that the Haydn Ensemble specialises in is music from the time of Mozart, sort of late 18th century. We play on original instruments, which is also, I guess, a part. We're using gut strings. It's a sort of more earthy sound. Wooden flute rather than silver flute has a warmer tone. And so the music we're playing tonight is we start out with Haydn's Sunrise Quartet, which we picked particularly to go with the project because, many of these composers wrote with the ideas of nature, even back in the 18th century. And so, it starts with this beautiful rising sunrise figure. We're also playing some of the new music that we commissioned for the Menindee Project. There's a beautiful piece called Ripples and Reflections, which for me is like the pelicans on the lake, by a young female composer, Tulia Cairns, who's from Sydney, that is part of our emerging composer program. We'll be performing Mozart Divertimento, which is a piece Mozart wrote when he was quite young, and that's also important, like sort of youthful music. And we're also doing a chamber version of Haydn's Miracle Symphony for string quartet and flute.
Well, you'd be pleased to know, and I've got to be honest, I don't play a lot of Mozart on the breakfast program, but it's a big but this morning, Skye. The Marriage of Figaro would...
I love The Marriage of Figaro. It's one of my favourite pieces.
I didn't want to butcher the original wording of this. Have you got your head around it, have you?
Voi che sabato is one of the arias from Mozart's opera Marriage of Figaro.
Well, let's play this. Now, the performance tonight, as I said, in the Art Gallery at 7 p.m, runs for about an hour and a half, and It'll be amazing setting and amazing sound coming out of there this evening. Thank you for coming in this morning.
My absolute pleasure. Thanks for listening to me tell you all about the project.
Thanks for travelling out, and I'm sure Menindee School got so much out of your visit. The Marriage of Figaro, shall we play it?
Yes, please.
Why not?